Well, today's episode, I thought I had a plan. However, it did not go exactly like I thought, but I'll explain much of it at the end. So today we're going to be reviewing the GCW and um, Violence and Suffering event celebrating the 25th anniversary of Jimmy Lloyd. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with Jimmy Lloyd, he's this one kid who's been apparently showing up in death matches, getting involved in various scramble matches. Basically, he's one of the fan favorites. So he booked this entire event in the Future Stars of Wrestling arena, having some good matches regarding of death matches, singles matches, whatever. We even got, of course, ChocoPro 294 with 3 matches. There was a slight change of card due to the fact that we were supposed to have Mei Suruga involved, but however, because she's unable due to her illness, they found a last minute replacement, and I couldn't think of anybody else, and I will reveal that replacement when we get to that review. And then finally, we have NWA USA. It's been a while since I reviewed one because there was been a lot of things I've been doing with NWA for a while. And then we cap it up with some news updates to see what matches are being booked, who's going to appear in what event, and who is also going to appear at WrestleCon. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome, everybody, to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, let's begin with Jimmy Lloyd's All Grown Up. This was hosted by, of course, GCW and Violence and Suffering. This took place at the on the 17th of February at the Future Stars Wrestling Arena. Now, those who don't know, Jimmy Lloyd turned 25. I think everybody's was going to have a blast on this one. So, our first match, we have an amazing tag team opener. We have East West Express, consistent of Jordan Oliver and Nick Wayne, taking on Strange by Command, consistent of Addis and Commander. I have to say, this was a very strong one because they're both amazing teams. Not to mention, we have seen developments between both Nick and Oliver. Oliver has two of the most impressive tag teams, and not to mention, declared themselves as the young pillars of GCW. But it took only a miss fired by Commander onto Aries, but in the process, giving Nick and Jordan a double cloud cutter to put away a Commander, and 1, 2, 3, it was done just like that. Next up, we got Dante Leon taking on Ratty Daddy Cole Roderick. Another good match. I have to say, strong one like any other match we've seen before. I wasn't too sure how this was gonna outcome at all because they're both fantastic wrestlers. Not to mention Cole Roderick, who we've seen many times over, stepped up his plate as a deathmatch wrestler, and not to mention Dante Leon being a former GHC junior heavyweight champion and whatnot. But it took only one move by Cole Roderick to put away Dante Leon to give him the win, so he picked up the W. Next up, we have this thing called the intoxication match. The rules are kind of little, I don't know how to say. Basically, if you kick out after 2, then you have to drink some alcohol, and then we'll see how you play out every time you kick out. So that's what happens. If you kick out, you have to take a certain type of drink, either a straight up beer or a tequila shot or a Jägermeister. So that kind of thing. But it took only the opponent, the competitors, was Rob Shit and Kit Osborne. Uh, I can tell they were a bit intoxicated from the times they had to kick out, but it took only a brainbuster by Rob Shit to put away Kit Osborne to give him the W. Next up, we got a coffin match. That's right, you heard me correctly, a coffin match. I mean, they said, who wouldn't have a coffin match at a Jimmy Lloyd birthday party? Well, I mean, I'm sure Jimmy Lloyd would like to participate, but he's not. So our opponent is a member of the second gear crew. We're talking about the one man militia, Matthew Justice, taking on one half of our current GCW tag team champions, Ciclope of Los Macizos. I thought this was also another good match. Not to mention, in the back of my mind, I thought, okay, Matthew Justice has it in the back because he is one crazy SOB if you ever get to see him. But in this case, it did not. There were some mishaps from him, and he ended up being in the casket, allowing for Ciclope to pick up the win. However, in the post-match promo, Ciclope did say that he thinks Matthew Justice is crazier than him, and I think he gives him his respects. But he did say for tonight, Matthew Justice, just rest in peace. Try to play out a comment from the Undertaker. So I have no problem with that. Now, as soon as the coffin match shows up, another wrestler shows up. No one who did not book this moron for no apparent reason. Darren Corbin. Some people can say he's like the reject family member of Baron Corbin, but apparently he got his head straightened by Jai Vidal, who tells him maybe the only reason no one booked you is because you're not as famous as the one in WWE. And we're like, burn! But it took this match really, really quick. It wasn't booked or how it has been told, but it only took a sharpshooter by Jai Vidal to put away Darren Corbin, and just like that, it was a quick and easy match. Excuse me. Next up, we got Miedo Extremo versus Speedball Mike Bailey. Now, I'm always impressed by Mike Bailey's matches. For a while now, I'm like, since he first returned to the U.S., I have to say it's great. I wasn't too sure how this was gonna play out because what I did like is how Miedo Extremo was being a bit more methodical about his opponent. Now, keep in mind, what makes Speedball Mike Bailey is those striking kicks. So I have to say, Miedo Extremo did play out that part very well. Tried to weaken the legs of Mike Bailey, but it wasn't no good until he ended up in the Flamingo Driver, and kaboom! Mike Bailey wins this match. Next up, we got a very interesting, fun match. We have Santana Jackson making his play versus Dark Sheik. I have to say this was one of the most funnest matches I've ever watched. Seeing Santana Jackson, yes, he's like a dancer who dances to Michael Jackson, hee hee, all that stuff. I thought it was real fun. But it was Dark Sheik who walked out as the victor by pinning, of course, Santana Jackson and winning the match. Now, as soon as before we get to our main event, Jamie Lloyd comes out saying that for the main event, he wants this to turn into a no ropes barbed wire death match. So it took about maybe 20 minutes just to set it up. So I was like, okay, why not? And MLJ was like, so basically he had no idea this was gonna happen, but it did. But the obvious thing is this a proper match for Jamie Lloyd? I have to say, it's his birthday. I mean, he can do whatever he wants. He's the birthday boy. He decides however he wants. So I have to say he did put Effie through hell in this match. Not to mention when he put him in a cross face with the barbed wire, forcing him to tap out. So pretty good match, not to lie. I mean, it is his birthday after all. So I think that's pretty much it with this particular event. I believe it's time to move on to our next one, ChocoPro. Okay, ChocoPro 294. Now, I did mention there was some changes in the card on this particular day. Mei Suruga was unable to make it, so basically, she was replaced to team up with Balinaki. So his tag team partner is his other bro, and that is none other than Saki from Colors. Yes, folks, if you guys are not been following or you're new to the channel, Balinaki does have another bro that he teamed up with the first tag team that he had when he first arrived to Japan, and that is, of course, Saki. You may remember her from Actress Girls. She's currently a freelancer. She works with Colors, and she is part of the Allies with my favorite unit from Stardom, Cosmic Angels. It was also very interesting. So let's get started with the first match we have. The first one we have is um, Sayaka taking on Kaori Yomayama. I have to say this match was pretty good because I've seen Sayaka grown up a lot. You know, she was like this much lesser wrestler for a couple years, and now she has grown up. Not to mention she have been very progressive more as a tag team, but we yet to see more of Sayaka as a singles competitor. That's something that's important as well. I mean, you got to learn to be a singles competitor if you're also going to be a tag team competitor. And I think this one was a true test because Yonayama is a veteran in the game, and I think that plays it out. But however, like always, Yonayama always finds a way to pull off her victory when she applies her infamous O'Connor roll. 1, 2, 3, it was over right from there. Next up, we got Chiko Shikawa showing up with some beer cans, teaming up with Masahiro Takanashi. I don't know if Masa thinks that she is replacing Chris Brooks. I don't know, but however, their opponents are from out pair of outsiders. What's his name? Jeff and Kevin Mann, the Man Bros. Very unusual name. I'm not sure if these guys come from Singapore, but it was a pretty fun match. Not to mention some interesting developments. I thought in a way this one would have fallen in favor of Masahiro Takanashi and Chi, but no, not in this case. It was like always. We always get caught off guard with wrestlers pulling the inside cradle in order to pick up the win. I think it was Jeff who picked up that win on Chi, giving the surprising victory. But they did say they will put their tag titles on the line against whoever. Be careful what you wish for, boys. Now, main event, we have Sayaka Obihiro and Shin Suzuki taking on Saki and Balinaki. I have to say, it was a pretty good match. I felt like both Saki and Balinaki hasn't missed a step since their last tag in. I remember one time Saki was doing that little pose that Mei Suruga does right in front of her. But, um, of course, Mei will be back as soon as she feels better from her illness. But it took only a pinfall by Balinaki to put away Shin Suzuki. 1, 2, 3, it was done just like that. I always enjoy watching Saki in ChocoPro, not to mention she is a veteran as well. Now for our Jonkin tournament. This one was a very difficult one because I don't know how the Man Bros are going to deal with this because this is their first time. One of them was able to go through and the other did not because he sucks. Well, I wasn't too sure who was going to walk in, but I was a bit surprised. It was Balinaki. He said it's been a long while since he had a piece of chocolate. And he wasn't lying. It's been a while. So I think he deserved it more than everybody else. So, but he did stated that the following episode, if Mei Shuruga will not be able to make it to the next show, there is last minute replacement, and we'll see about that. Once I review that one, I'll be golden with that. So I think let's move on with our last and final review, and that would be NWA USA. Okay, well, let's do NWA USA. It's been a while since I did one. I don't remember the last time I did this, but however, some exciting stuff took place on this particular episode, so let's talk about it. First things first, they had the first tournament for the NWA Women's World Television Championship. Now, this was something that was announced on Power this past Wednesday. I'm sure everybody's excited because we have seen a lot of things have developed in the women's division when it comes to NWA. I know many people are talking about which is the best in the women's division right now and what promotion. But I have to say they're doing something very interesting and very, how do I say, progressing. But our first competitors involving in this tournament is none other than Tail Valkyrie and Genocide. Now, Genocide, as you know, she's a very big powerhouse. We've seen her many times over. Not to mention Tail Valkyrie, who has a much bigger resume than her. I think many people probably would vote for Tail Valkyrie if she wins this tournament and wins the belt. And I think that would make sense. But it only took a road to Valhalla for her to put away Genocide, giving her the win. I thought it was a pretty good match. I enjoyed it a lot. Now we do get a very interesting interview coming from that with Cal Davis regarding that Sweezel, Chris Silvio, Troop, and Dane. It appears that now Silvio has declared that they will be gunning for one particular championship. As you know, Jack Stane has held almost every title there is but one. And luckily for him, he has a tag partner. And I'm not referring to the NWA World Tag Team titles. I'm referring to the NWA United States Tag Team titles. So basically, they have their sights set on that. And they don't think the country gentlemen or current U.S. tag champions are know anything because they declared themselves as the outlaw. Both Silvio declares both Troop and Dane as the outlaws. So we'll see what happens then because the main event is those tag titles. Now we do get another interesting interview with May Valentine. She interviews that weasel, Joe Alonso, saying that everybody has a manager and he found his, and that is Jamie Stanley. I don't know if it's the smartest move, but we'll see how that goes. Now, our next match, we have Mercurio along with Natalia Markova taking on Magic Jake Dumas. This feud dates back all the way to Enough Said because apparently something happened. Dumas did not like what transpired with CJ. However, Natalia Markova was told to leave due to the fact she does not have a manager's license. So basically, that's what transpired. But CJ slapped Mercurio in order to ensure uh, Magic Jack Dumas put him in a tombstone and then later tried to cut his face with the playing cards. Luckily, Mercurio tried to run away as he did before any the damage gets done. Now, as you know, we have brand new NWA Women's World Tag Team Champions, the Renegade Twins. Now, there's a lot of speculations. May Valentine speculated that what does this mean for Kenzie Page? Was it wise for her to put Roxy teaming with Ella Envy to claim those titles? We don't know. So basically, she is off to bigger things. I wouldn't be surprised if she will be gunning either for the NWA Women's Championship or the NWA Women's Television Championship. But they also introduced her sister, uh, Kylie. Yeah, Kylie Page. Seems like we're gonna have another pair of sisters breaking havoc as well. And I think that's what's gonna take place, and I'm looking forward to see. Now we have our NWA United States Tag Team titles on the line. We have the Speculators, consistent of Russ Freeman, Brady Pierce, along with Rolando Freeman. They take on our current champions, the Country Gentlemen, AJ Kazana and Anthony Andrews. The match was pretty good. It was getting very, very well. But however, this was what happened. The Country Gentlemen had the old tag team titles. Remember, a few months back, Billy Corgan presented new titles to the Fixers. They said they did not want those new ones because they wanted the old ones because A, they have the American flag, and B, they posted stickers right there with their names on it. But however, the only reason that the Country Gentlemen have these belts was because they want everybody to know these are the new shiny belts are the United States Tag Team titles. However, those titles were stolen. Now, I'm not talking about the new ones, the old ones, by the Fixers. Now, this is where it gets interesting. They just steal it, but let me explain that in a little bit after this. Now, when you thought this was going to affect the country gentlemen, it did not. It was able to. It was Anthony Andrews was able to put away um, Freeman, and 1, 2, 3 was over. Now, why would the Fixers take the old tag team titles? I don't know if they think in their godforsaken minds, they think if we steal the belts, we are still the United States tag team champions. I don't know if that's what they think. The record shows the country gentlemen are the real tag team champions. I don't know if we're gonna get that. You know what I mean? We've seen people that do titles and say they're the real ones while the real ones are over here. That sort of thing. But I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen on Power this coming Wednesday, see how that progresses. And then hopefully more on the NWA USA. But right now, we just ended right here with NWA. Let's move on with news updates. Okay, welcome to our news updates. So this is what we have for right now. WrestleCon has announced for the next guest to appear during WrestleMania week. That's going to be none other than our current Impact Knockouts champion, Mickie James. So she will be there as well. So if you guys are planning to go to LA, this is your chance to go meet her. Now, West Coast Pros announced an interesting debut coming from a pair of tag teams from Australia for their Home of Killers event on the 7th of April. We got the Velocities. Now I have seen the Velocities before. They're a very interesting tag team, so you should check them out. Prestige Wrestling has announced for their Roseland 5 event that takes place in April on the 29th. Trish Adora makes her return, so I'm looking forward to that too. House of Glory is announced for their upcoming event with Glory to come. With Glory comes Pride. On the 10th of March, we're gonna have the House of Glory Women's Championship on the line. We have our current champion Violet taking on none other than Max the Impaler. I think this is gonna be one tough match for Violet to take on a very big individual and dangerous one, Max the Impaler. And finally, St. Louis Anarchy, promotion based out of St. Louis, Missouri, has announced a huge debut coming in their wakes. And I did not anticipate this one, but it would make sense. They announced that Miyu Yamashita it will be there. Our current, uh, our the star with the Tokyo Yosha Pro. If you guys remember, Miyu Yamashita will be remaining in the U.S. for the next 3 months, all the way to June. I have to say this could be one of the matches she will be involved. So I will keep a prize on this one because I know many fans would like to see it. I have seen many of their events. So I think that's pretty much it right now with our news updates. So let's just right now call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Originally, I was supposed to have the New Japan Pro Wrestling Battle in the Valley, but however, there were some technical difficulties that was taking place. I decided I'm going to wait it out until it's all clear so I can watch the entire thing from start to finish and go from there. And of course, not 100% sure if I will be reviewing Elimination Chamber just yet. Haven't decided. I do know we got the latest GCW event, middle of the night or something like that. And a few others, and of course the latest ChocoPro event. So I will be doing what I can. I'll just wing it. I yet to see the latest Stardom event that took place recently. So we'll go from there. So for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.